A Consequence of Apathy, Jihad, UK. Written by N.R. Baldwin. Narrated by Tom Fria. Chapter 1. Run down and battered around the edges and, to the casual observer, seeming immediately dated. Even considering it had been recently redecorated following the fire, the 3 Tons was a pub much like every other in that part of Leeds. It was time expired, but reluctant to admit it. Somewhere through the fog of emptiness, a debate ebbed and flowed. The participants had long since lost interest, but nevertheless went through the motions of discourse as if the mere act of participating gave them a valid reason for being there on that day and at that particular moment. It was as good a reason as any, and a pleasant, pointless way of wasting time. Amongst the 4 friends debating, Mike was allowed to take the lead. He had been arguing that it was better to wait and see what work would come available when the new Government Displaced Persons Center opened. His friend was not so sure, and insisted he had exclusive inside information that a workforce was being brought up to Leeds from down south. He pronounced down south like it was the bastion of an invading army, somewhere foreign and to be avoided. He explained it was part of the new government move-to-work scheme, where families would be rehoused from economic dead zones to working areas and temporarily housed until they could afford to rent a place of their own. "It just doesn't make sense. Not when people here can't get work," insisted Mary, although not in a tone that especially wanted to be heard. "I thought the South was happening, and we were the economic dead zone up here. No work ethos, etc." Mike already made his decision almost an hour previously. He, along with Pete, who was sat loyally beside him keeping quiet, had decided hours before the debate that they were going to move. To them that meant not just moving, but disappearing totally from the hopeless environment they felt currently trapped in. Mike had not had a regular job for 2 years, apart from the odd supply teaching position. Sure, there was the odd 2 or 3 weeks available laboring, but nothing solid, and he felt his age was turning against him. If he was going to find his feet and secure a future, he had to act now, this week, if not today. The promised council food credits had not made much of a difference. He was still hungry, but in a dull ache sort of way, not just for a proper diet, but also for a proper future. When the council first announced that extra food credits would be issued to job seekers, everyone immediately saw it as a way to turn the credits into cash. There was an obvious ready market of illegal street immigrants who would only be too pleased to buy them. But as with every other recent money-making scheme at street level, the market soon became swamped, and then violent, and then regulated through grim, hard men who were not adverse to using any means necessary to control the cards. This reign of muscle did not last long, however, as the People's Collective, sometimes nicknamed the vigilante hippies, waded in and sorted out the chaos. Now food credits were paid straight to the People's Collective. They controlled their fair distribution and made sure that there was no other use for them other than that intended. Mike was not surprised by what developed, but felt a little awe of the underclass's previously unrecognized ability to police itself fairly and peacefully. Recently, the newly elected council had promised the international community it would reach the development goals for the city, although nothing concrete had happened. Mike and Peter were convinced the only
Sample complete. Ready to continue?